Hey, welcome back. And here we go. Yes. Yeah. Well, sound check. Guys, if you can hear me, please let me know. Just write down a yes if my sound is loud and clear. Hey, everyone. Hey, Veena. Hey, Gourmet. Hey, Sanakshi. Hey, Akanksha. Yes, cool. So we're good to go. I will just gently reduce the voice. Yes. So tonight we're going to discuss and we're going to have a conversation about how to handle disappointment and hurt and rejection in a relationship. Because let's face it, in my day to day clinical practice, psychotherapy practice, one thing that destroys a lot of lives is inability of people to manage hurt, rejection, and disappointment in relationships that matter the most to them. And this is why I thought, you know, I'd like to share with you a powerful framework tonight that you can use every single time you feel disappointed, every single time you feel your expectations are not met, and you can really save your life and save your career and save years. Uh, but a disclaimer first, and which is that this podcast, this live stream, and any other content you see on YouTube, although I'm qualified as a clinical psychologist to give you advice, however, this is not a replacement for professional clinical psychotherapy or professional clinical advice. Please understand that it's really important for a clinician to see you on a case personally one on one to really understand your situation. So please do not treat it as clinical advice. And if you're struggling with a condition, I recommend consult your therapist or consult a medical health practitioner before trying anything I share on the podcast. Let's get going. Hi, everyone. Oh, we have a lot of people tonight. So here's the thing. In any relationship, especially in romantic ones, sometimes, you expect something from your partner and your partner is not able to fulfill it. And how do you feel? You feel anger. And if this keeps happening, that your partner is not able to fulfill your expectations again and again, and it reaches a point where you begin to expect that your expectation won't be fulfilled, you kind of slide from anger now into disappointment. You feel disappointed in your relationship, you feel disappointed in your partner. And when this disappointment stays for a longer period, this is when this disappointment transforms itself into disgust, which means you can't really stand your partner anymore. So it all begins like, okay, I come home, I'm expecting a nice meal, and let's say, well, the meal is not really nice, it's not cooked properly, and I'm tired, exhausted, and I get a bout of anger. And then, well, it goes away, and next day it happens again, next day it happens again. And eventually, after a couple of weeks or months of repeated, this thing happening, that my expectation of a good meal is not met, eventually I would feel disappointed in my chef. And then if I stay longer with this disappointment, i would I would enter disgust. I won't be able to stand my chef. And that's when probably I'll consider replacing my chef, find someone who knows how to cook a good meal. So this is from anger, the expectation not met, to anger, to disappointment, to disgust. And now this is normal. This happens. It's normal for us to feel angry. It's normal for us to feel negative emotions, especially when our expectations are not met. It's human. However, if we stay stuck in the negative emotion for a long, long time, it's unhealthy, it's sick, it becomes a disease. And I've seen people, a lot of people who are capable of getting into a negative emotion and they come out like in a couple of minutes. Some people take hours, some people take days, some people take weeks, and some people take years, decades. And I have seen a lot of people in my life, hardworking, sincere, well meaning people, spending their entire life in disappointment. They lose their life just because someone they really loved and cared for did not meet their expectation. And not meeting expectation could mean anything. Someone they loved cheated on them, someone they loved broke their trust, someone they loved didn't care for them, someone they really loved and cared for abandoned them in the time of need. It could mean anything. And well, this part is really painful for me, that someone losing their entire life, or even 10 years of their life, 5 years of their life, 7 years of their life, to because someone else did not really fulfill their expectation and they felt cheated or they felt let down. And so tonight I'm going to give you a formula, a 3-step formula, very powerful one. I've tried it with my clients. It really works. And this formula is something you would want to commit, transfer it in your nervous system, so that when you actually uh, you know reach a point in life where you feel disappointed, your expectations are not met, you feel anger or any negative emotion, you don't spend your entire life there. You can simply use this formula and get out of it. And I'd like to tell you a quick client story, a true story. It'll help you to really understand how this formula is to be used, and how you can use it too. And for the sake of confidentiality and privacy, the name and a couple of details are changed. So, this is my client who came to me um, almost 12 years back, 12, 13 years back. And let's say her name was Alia, and she was in her mid 30s. She was working in a very big company of Fortune 100, and she was at a very powerful position. And she was in a very happy, romantic dating relationship. And she'd been in this relationship for almost 5 years. And she was happy, satisfied, and she wanted to marry the guy and settle down with this man. However, something happened, and she got to know that her man is planning to call off the relationship and move on with this new girl who happened to be their common friend. And she was a successful actor and a model. And she could really see her man feeling attracted to this supermodel and actor. And it broke her heart. She felt devastated. She shut herself down. She started skipping office. She started staying home, stopped getting out of the room. She would cry for no reason. She would keep crying. And her family got worried. Her friends got worried. Her colleagues and even her boss got worried, because she was a top performer and her professional life was suffering. Her family life was suffering. And she took to alcohol. She started drinking and she was suffering. She kind of felt that she was not good enough, so she started avoiding people. She felt that, she told me later, that I felt that people will judge me, what a loser. And so she did not want to see her friends. She didn't want to see her family, because she feared that her family might say, it must be your fault. And at night she could not sleep, and all night she would just have these nightmares, and she felt she's going to be lonely for the rest of her life. And Alia's situation is very typical in most relationship, romantic relationship crisis, marriages, and even live-ins. And she was a sincere, hardworking girl, very much invested in her relationship. And I strongly believe and feel that no person deserves to suffer because of loss of love. No person deserves loneliness. No person deserves to struggle in a relationship. And there are ways that should reach people. So finally, Alia's boss happened to know me, and he introduced her to my therapy. And well, she was someone who did not believe in therapy, and she outrightly rejected the idea. When she came to me for the first session, she told me, I'm here because of my boss and because of my family. I do not believe in therapy. I do not believe that therapy works. But I could not really say no to them, so here I am. And I said, all right, I respect your belief that therapy doesn't work and it is useless. However, is it possible for you to really keep this thought, to not really dismiss it, but keep this thought on the side, and for some time just participate in the session as if therapy works and as if this session can unlock the doors to whatever you want in life? And she reluctantly agreed. And in the first session, I gave her a 3-step framework. And for the sake of, making it, easier so to commit to memory, I call it CAP, CAP. And the CAP, first I brought Alia's attention to A. And letter A, I told her, stands for acknowledge, accept your anger or any other negative emotion, which means that right now you're feeling angry, you're feeling aggressive, and these, please acknowledge these feelings, that you're feeling these feelings. They are real, they're not imaginary. And at the same time, accept that these feelings are logical, these are rational, and they make sense. Because anyone in your place who's completely invested in a relationship and when would see a relationship going away would feel these feelings. So these feelings are logical, they are rational. Do not dismiss them. Welcome them, accept them, acknowledge them. And I could see, as she began to acknowledge her feelings and negative emotions and accept them as rational and logical reactions of human nervous system and human mind, she started settling down a bit. And so this is the first step I want you to consider. Whenever you feel disappointed and whenever you feel your expectations are not met and you feel any negative emotion, remember the A of CAP. Acknowledge, act, identify, okay, I'm feeling these feelings, and this is anger, this is aggression, this is disappointment, this is disgust, whatever you're feeling, give it a label, name it, and then accept that these feelings are logical and they're real. Don't say that they are like, I don't know why I'm feeling this. They're absolutely logical. They have a purpose, and that's why they are in your body. And then I brought her attention to the second letter, which is C. And C stands for courage to choose change. So there are 3 letters with C: courage, choose, and change. And so I told her, I said, like 5 years back, do you remember a part of your life when you were single and you didn't even know this guy? She said, yes. And I said, were you happy then? And she said, yeah, pretty happy. So I said, okay, so you were happy, living happily without this man, and you were having a great time. She said, yes. I said, cool. And then you meet this man and then you become happier. And she says, yes. You see, you were single and happy, and now you're a couple and you're happier. There's change. And now this man finds someone else, and well, he feels he's out of love and he decides to move on. And now you are unhappier and miserable. And she says, yes. I say, you see, it's change again. And she goes, yes, there is change. I said, so what do you get? And she goes, well, actually, I see a point. Life changes. And I said, yes, life changes. However, there is something I want you to pay attention to. Your life can change in a direction that you choose. So you really need to know at this state that you understand that change is going to happen. Your life is going to change. Things are not going to be the same. The question you need to ask yourself in this situation is, what kind of a change do you want? And my job is to support in whatever change you want, whatever choices you make. And she says, I want my man back. I want my relationship to be like it was. I want to marry this guy. I said, fair enough. So just write it down. And she wrote down what change she wanted, what future she wanted. And I said, now you need to understand something. Now you have chosen something that you want. You want this man back and you want to heal your relationship and you want to settle and marry this man, which means you need courage to make choices that are outside your comfort zone. Which means if you continue to behave and make choices that you were making earlier, it's not going to work. You need to look for new ways of thinking, new ways of feeling, new ways of acting. So you need to choose these new ways of being, and they're not going to feel unnatural to you. You're going to feel a lot of resistance. You might even say, how are they going to help me? And this is absolutely fine because they are outside your comfort zone. There's something you're not familiar with. So you need to act with a lot of courage. You need to overcome this resistance that you're going to face on the inside. And maybe on the outside, your family might say, why are you behaving this new strange way? Or you might friends, it might unsettle your friends. And she said, yes, I am willing to act with courage, to make new choices, to accept new ways of being, to drive the change that I want in my life, which is to get my man back. So after you have accepted anger or any negative emotion, I want you to remind yourself that change is going to happen and I can choose what change I want. And third, I need to make new choices and I need to act with courage to make these new choices. That's the C or the cap. And then I said, Alia, now we have one more piece in the formula, which is P. And P stands for positive and plan for price. Now, positive here is very important, and you've already done it partly. And I reminded her when you came for therapy, you had doubts that whether it's going to work or it's not going to work. You were sure and you were sent here by your boss. So you were skeptical and you had paid for the session and still you were convinced that it's not going to work. And this is what I don't want. So now that you have chosen that you want to save your relationship, you have chosen that you want your man to come back to you, and you have decided that you will act with courage, I want you to believe with 100% certainty that this is going to happen. I want you to be positive about what you want. And just like what if therapy works? Believe that it works, try it, and see for yourself what happens. And then the second part of P is plan for price, which means price is whatever you want and you need a plan of action. So we sat together and I gave her a plan, which is a very powerful process I created, which is meditate. It's a 3-step process to really help anyone find, feel, and stay in true love forever. So I gave her the 3 steps. And then I gave her the option. Either you can do this process on your own or you can take my assistance. She agreed to take the assistance. And I still remember seeing the look on her face after the first session. This is just the first session. She felt that something shifted inside. It was on her face. I could see that. And after a couple of weeks, she actually went through meditate and we kept repeating CAP, kept reminding her that negative emotions are okay, kept reminding her that she has to act with courage, she has to make new choices, kept reminding her that what her goal is to really save her relationship, and kept reminding her that you have to believe that you're going to make it happen. You have the power to affect your future and stick to the plan. And a couple of weeks down the lane, her man comes back to her and tells her, Alia, I'm sorry. He apologizes, and he says, and he expresses for the first time that he actually wants to spend his life with her. And she was really happy. And she came back and she thanked me. And while thanking me, she remembered the moment when she came to me for the first time and she said, I was skeptical. And sometimes I really get nightmares that what if I had chosen not to take therapy? What if I had acted on my belief that therapy does not work? Probably I would have lost a couple of years of my life. I would have turned alcoholic. I would have really destroyed my career. And fast forward to this day as we speak tonight, she's happily married to the man of her life and they have 3 daughters. So, this is a powerful process. CAP, as you can see, it can immediately take you out of your negative emotions and put you on the path to positivity and whatever you want in life, so that you do not end up really wasting years of your life. So, anytime you recognize that someone is not meeting your expectation, someone, your partner is not able to fulfill your expectation, you are feeling negative emotions, anger, disgust, disappointment, I want you to remember CAP. I want you to really acknowledge and welcome the negative emotions you're feeling. I want you to tell your body and mind, thank you for making me feel this. And then say, thank you. I understand that these feelings they have a reason that they exist. They're trying to save me and warn me. I take note of this. And then immediately shift to the fact that I have the power to change my future. I have the power to choose my future. I have the power to act with courage to make new choices outside of my comfort zone, to drive change, to create the future that I want. And then, third, absolutely totally tell yourself that I believe that whatever I've planned, with action, with time, I can make it happen. Be 100% positive about whatever you have decided, whatever change you want, or whatever goals you have chosen. And then make a simple plan, and start acting on the plan. And so you see, if you do CAP, before you begin CAP, you'll be stuck in the web of negative emotions. And after you finish this CAP, even mentally or on a piece of paper, you'll find yourself taking steps to your future, a positive future that you want. I hope it makes some sense. And guys, for tonight, I'm going to take some live calls. If you have any questions, here is my number. You might want to write it down, and you can call me on this number. It's 7051007051. I'll repeat my number. It's 7051007051. So if you have any question, you can just call me, and we'll take a couple of calls tonight. All right. And yes. Hi, Jeevan. Hi, Aaron. Hello, Manvi. Hi, Shilpa. Great, guys. So if anyone has a question, you can feel free to call and we can take this. Or else we call it. Hey, Samya. You're welcome. Hello, Shalu. Okay, we have a call.
Welcome. Hello.
Hello. Yes. So on this call, you don't have to share your name. You can simply ask a question.
Hello.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, ki, actually we during these uh, a very hectic schedule of our lives and every those things we cannot think कि, मतलब we are perceiving our perceived potential, what we think actually ki we can achieve these kind of goals, or all those
Hmm.
things. But right now, matlab, I think कि मतलब it's very difficult to achieve those goals.
Yes.
मतलब, but uh, even though I achieved some of them, but मतलब I don't think I am perceiving my own perceived potential, which was which was I think कि मतलब I can achieve those kind of things.
Right.
But uh,
Right. So this is what one of the features in CAP is, that the first thing is you need to have a clear goal. A lot of the times we are not able to achieve our goals just because you're not clear about goals. So it helps if you write down your whatever goal you have on a piece of paper. The second thing is, once you have chosen a goal, you really need to believe that you have the ability and to achieve this goal if you take action. So sometimes I know we are full of doubt that if we choose a big goal, we might say, oh, I don't have the resources, I don't have the money, I don't have anything. And then I want you to really think about other examples of people who achieved this goal. So think about, people in poverty becoming heads of political states, going to moon, man going to moon. On the same planet where we had nothing 200 years back, today we have laptops. Imagine 200 years back, the idea of a live stream where like people from all over the world are watching it. So once you study these examples, it gives you a belief that things that everyone believed were impossible 100 years back, 200 years back, they actually happened, which means whatever goals I've chosen, it is possible for me to achieve those. All I need to do is make a plan and look for ways on making it happen. So, this is the broader example I can give you. I hope it helps.
thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. So, we have another call. I'll just take it.
The number you have dialed.
Okay. So, I got this call and we did not get a question. All right. Okay, guys. It was really nice talking to you tonight. Oh, we have a call. Yes. Go ahead. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi. I just want to check one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there is real rejection in a relationship. Sometimes people they don't get like Alia. Um, she got the man of her life back, but there are people who don't get the people they are looking for. So how do you deal with that? Because it's also said that rejection is equal to like having a heart attack.
Yeah, rejection is a very painful human emotion,
Yeah.
and yes, yes.
So
So there are two reasons. If so, just think about this perspective. Two people, when they get in a relationship and they've been in a relationship for 4 5 years, it most of the times, if people are psychologically healthy, they stay in a relationship because they want to be in a relationship. And sometimes when the relationship begins to fall apart, there is something happening which is below the conscious threshold of either of the partners or both the partners. And then naturally, when one person begins to call it off, the other person feels rejected. A lot of people land in this situation. And from this situation, there are two roads that there are two or three, and the road you choose makes a difference. So one road is believing that I can actually repair my relationship, I can fix it, I can have it beautiful once again. So that's where the cap comes into picture. The other road is, I mean, you are simply like, it's not going to happen, it always happens to me, why life is so unkind to me, and you take the road of blame, that you start blaming circumstances, destiny, stars, whatever. And in such cases, mostly it's very difficult. I won't say impossible, sometimes nature does intervene. and people end up lonely. And the third is people try random stuff. They go to 20 people for advice, or and they try to do one thing today and second thing tomorrow. They do not have a comprehensive plan. So which means, again, hit and trial may work, but it's very inconsistent. So they're not consistent, and they are not comprehensive with what is their strategy or plan. And this is why they end up like the relationship is over and they're feeling rejected. So my point is, from a clinical perspective, if a couple has been in a relationship for 4 or 5 years, and if they take a comprehensive plan, and if they're consistent, and if they're willing to change and make acts, if they're willing to act with courage, and are willing to make choices out of their comfort zone, and willing to drive change, willing to change so that they can drive the change, it's pretty much possible to save any relationship that's been there, that was once beautiful. And okay, the second part of the question, let's face it, we cannot really 100% save every relationship. Sometimes things don't work no matter how hard we try. And then we are again in rejection, which is a negative emotion. And we don't want to stay stuck in that negative emotion again. And this is where we want to again wear the cap, and we want to accept the negative emotion, accept rejection, which is a deeply painful emotion. And then we need to really understand that now that the person is gone, what is it that I want? What kind of a change do I want? And do the change thing. And then believe that whatever new goals you've set for yourself, they will happen. And well, create a plan and stick to it. And this is the best I can say. I hope it helps.
It does help. I have an onward question. Can
Sure,
I?
please. Yes, go ahead.
So I definitely understand if there is rejection and you have accepted and acknowledged the negativity around it. However, there is a time period which is like really dull and dark, and you really don't know how to navigate it.
Yes, yes,
That's where you don't understand whom to reach out, what
yeah,
needs to be done.
yeah,
You're not in a position to actually
yeah,
frame specific goal or purpose
yes,
in life.
yes.
So how can many like me bridge that phase, or who have faced rejection or who are facing rejection?
Yeah. So I I would say there are two things I really want you to look into. And anyone who's listening, and anyone who's faced rejection and who's been stuck in rejection, there are two things I really that stand out in my mind. And I see people making mistakes vis-a-vis these two things. Now, you need to understand there is support and there are solutions. And support is one of the solutions. However, you need to, in this hard time, you need support. So you really need to look into your ecosystem, your family, your friends, people who are simply there for you to offer you their presence, their support. So they're there, and it helps anyone deal with the trauma of rejection relatively easily. The second aspect is solutions. You want this trauma to get over. You don't want this trauma to haunt your future. So, in such a case, you need to go to a certified, licensed, trained professional seeking solutions, working on this trauma at a clinical level so it doesn't haunt your life. Now, the mistake people do is people go to their friends and family for support, it's okay, but they also go to their friends and family for advice and for solutions and for therapeutic work. And this is where things get really murkier, because a lot of the times the common popular advice that we get through friends and family who have good intentions, it's actually opposite of what needs to be done in a situation like that. So I would say think in terms of support and solution. And for support, bank on your ecosystem, people who've always been there, people you are sure of that they have good intentions for you. And for solutions, seek professional help, go to a psychotherapist, a good trained professional who can work with you on your trauma and pain and rejection, so it's over faster and it does not haunt your future. I hope it helps.
Yeah, it does. One last question. I'm so sorry. Can I
Yes,
ask?
please go ahead.
Okay. So, is there any time period, to heal yourself out of this rejection? I mean, do I need to put a cap on the time period of healing?
Okay, so the best bet is that you take preemptive action. So if you're listening to me and you have never faced rejection, it's good to really work on building your emotional strength and your cognitive capacity and have a SOS plan ready that tomorrow if I get face rejection, this is my go to plan. This is the step 1, this is the step 2, this is the step 3. If you have a plan ready, a plan B ready, that if my relationship works great, if I face rejection, this is my plan B, then you can come out of it pretty soon. It won't take long. However, if you don't have a plan, really, you can't really put a timeline. um, I would say if it depends on a lot of factors, variables come into play when we are dealing with trauma or rejection. The personality makeup of the person going through rejection, the family history, the socioeconomic background. So a lot of factors are in place. If there is some comorbidity, some other problem, and so it's really difficult to give you a ballpark figure that okay, this will take this long. There are too many variables. So the best strategy is to preempt, to train people. I believe students in colleges and schools should be trained on facing rejection. And if they're trained on clinical principles for facing rejection, when they actually face rejection in life, it'll be much less painful and they'll be able to get over it very soon. I hope that helps.
So, you mean just the way we've been trained on physical hygiene, we need to be trained on mental and emotional hygiene?
Okay. I won't even say mental and emotional. I would say people need to be trained on relationships. I have been saying time and again that the world is facing a relationship crisis. So the relationships between countries are are really going crazy. The relationship between states, if you see, they are going crazy. The states are fighting on water, resources. The relationship between religions are going crazy. The relationship between two neighbors, they are becoming more and more difficult. And if you come inside the house, the relationship between the father and the son, father and the daughter, father and the mother, the relationships between the two, three generations living in the same house are becoming crazy. And the relationships between two siblings are getting crazier. So if you see, right from like within the house to the global scene, relationship crisis is pretty much, you can see it's everywhere. And I think the takeaway from this is that mental and emotional is great. That's a bigger set. However, specifically, I think it's really important for us to train students, especially in late teens and in college, to understand the science of relationship and to learn how to create happy and happening relationships. And in case rejection happens, how to face it gracefully and move on. Just like in sports, you lose a match, and sports people, great players, are trained to just forget it and move on. And this is really important. And this is why I've decided in September, all this month, every night we will do touch some aspect of the science of love, the science of romance, and the science of relationships. I hope it helps.
Thanks, it does help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we have a question online from Sajan. He says, is there any similarity between expectations and rejection in a relationship between couples? I'm not really sure what is your question. If you could reframe it. Expectations and rejection. Okay. Rejection is basically an expectation not met, if this is what you mean. So you expect the other person to really be in a relationship with you, stay with you. However, the other person says, hey, it's not working for me. I got to go out. And he makes a choice which comes across to you as a rejection, and it hurts. So it happens. There's a relationship between expectations not met and the other person perceiving it as rejection. Okay, guys. All right. Pretty good. I hope you really enjoyed this session, and if you found some value, please share it with your friends or people who might need it. I wish you a lovely night. See you tomorrow. Bye.